Van Dyne, Pretzel, Butler, Newquist, Richmond, Parker, Williams, Diaz, Winfrey, Coleman, Logan, Freeman, Revis, Mitchell, Ortiz, Berkowitz, Mueller, Costa, Ogala.
21 members present. We have a quorum. I need a motion to place on file the certificate of publication. Motion by Costa, seconded by Revis. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Balich, Trainier, Dean Schlattman, Van Dyne, Pretzel, Butler, Newquist, Richmond, Parker, Williams, Diaz, Winfrey, Coleman, Logan, Freeman, Revis, Mitchell, Berkowitz, Mueller, Costa, Ogala.
21 in the affirmative, the motion carries. I now need a motion to approve the recess minutes from April 18th, 2024. Motion by Costa, seconded by Revis. Is there previous roll call by Trenier? Second by Dean Schlattman. All in favor? Any opposed? The motion carries. Madam Clerk, please add County Board Member Ortiz to the roll. And at this time, will you please acknowledge the elected officials and media present?
Yes, today we have County Executive Jennifer Bertino Tarrant and County Clerk Lauren Staley Ferry. And for the media, Daily Southtown, Michelle Mullins.
Thank you. At this time, we are going to our proclamations and honorary resolutions. At this time, we have Board Member Pretzel recognizing Mother's Day. Yeah, you're right. I have to, oh, good, you're coming up here. Make it.
Recognizing Mother's Day in Will County. Whereas the first proclamation for Mother's Day was an appeal for women to unite in peace by Julie Ward Howe, and whereas on May 9th, 1914, President Woodrow Wilson issued a proclamation establishing the first National Mother's Day. And whereas a mother is a selfless, loving human who sacrifices many of their own wants and needs for the wants and needs of their children. And whereas mothers are there for us at our highest points and our lowest moments, lifting us up when we need it most. They believe in us so we can be ourselves. And whereas mothers embody boundless love, unwavering strength, and ceaseless sacrifice. And whereas today, Mother's Day recognizes mothers, motherhood, and maternal bonds in general. Now therefore be proclaimed that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive do hereby recognize mothers in Will County. Be it further resolved that we honor, celebrate, and remember our remarkable mothers and those who mother, whose love knows no bounds, whose care knows no limits, and whose legacy knows no end. Happy Mother's Day. And I so move.
Motion by Pretzel, seconded by Ogala. Previous roll call by Mueller, seconded by Trenier. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Now we will move on to recognizing May as National Historic Preservation Month. We have someone speaking on that. All right, I don't have a name this time. All right, thank you. County Board Member Williams.
Okay, recognizing May as National Historic Preservation Month. Whereas historic preservation is an effective tool for managing growth and sustainable development, revitalizing neighborhoods, fostering local pride, and maintaining community character while enhancing livability. And whereas historic preservation is relevant for communities across the nation, both urban and rural, and for Americans of all ages, all walks of life, and all ethnic backgrounds. And whereas it is important to celebrate the role of history in our lives and the contributions made by dedicated individuals in helping to preserve the tangible aspects of the heritage that has shaped us as a people. And whereas people saving places is the theme for the National Preservation Month 2024, co-sponsored by the Will County Historic Preservation Commission and National Trust for Historic Preservation. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive do proclaim May as the National Historic Preservation Month and call upon the people of Will County to join their fellow citizens across the United States in recognizing and participating in this special observance. And I so move.
Motion by Williams, seconded by Ogala. Previous roll call by Trinier, second by Ballage. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Finally, we have Board Member Diaz, who is recognizing National Nurses Week.
Good morning. Recognizing National Nurses Week here in Will County. Whereas traditionally, the county recognizes May 6th through the 12th as National Nurses Week. And whereas everyday nurses provide quality, compassionate, and critical care to patients during both routine medical visits and times of great vulnerability, fears, and uncertainty. And whereas nurses is not merely a vocation, but it is a special calling serving others selflessly, particularly in times of in times when help is needed most. And whereas nurses are often the first to treat patients in our hospital and clinics. And whereas those caregivers exhibit professional experience, selflessness, dedication, unrelating advocation, and unsurpassed mercy, strength, and compassion. Now, therefore, it be resolved that Will County Board and Will County Executive recognize Nurses Week and acknowledge the outstanding efforts of the nurses throughout Will County. I so move.
Motion by Diaz, seconded by Dean Schlottman. Previous roll call by Mueller, seconded by Mitchell. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll now move on to public comment for agenda items only. Do we have any public comments for today's agenda items? If you are here for land use, we will have another opportunity for land use cases. But if you are here for public comments for today agenda items, anyone here to speak? Okay, thank you. All resolutions and ordinance from the April, hold on a second. All resolutions and ordinance for the April 18th, 2024 board meeting have been signed and returned. We'll move on to no new business. We'll move on to Land Use and Development Committee.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to open public hearing for all land use cases.
Motion by Pretzel, seconded by Revis. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Balich, Trainier, Dean Schlottman, Van Dyne, Pretzel, Butler, Newquist, Richmond, Parker, Williams, Diaz, Winfrey, Coleman, Logan, Freeman, Revis, Mitchell, Ortiz, Berkowitz, Mueller, Costa, Ogala. 22.
We are now in public hearing. Please be advised, absolutely no new evidence or information will be allowed once this land use public hearing is closed. Do we have anyone here to speak for any land use issues?
My name is Sam Roth. We have purchased a lot at 6828 West Drolley. And there is a proposed lawn care, landscaping, mulching operation on the parcel right next door to us that's looking to install a business at that location. Our concerns as a resident there, it was stated that there will be light usage with semi trucks bringing in materials or bringing out materials. It's my understanding that the roads are capable of up to, I do believe it's 30,000 pounds. A semi tractor and a trailer with a load average about 37,500 up to 50,000 pounds, which would far exceed the supposed road capabilities. With a mulching operation like this, there will be environmental impacts. We've heard from the individual looking to install this stating that there are very little to no environmental impacts. I presented a study which the land use and the planning and zoning were able to view and review. The environmental impacts are including mold, fungus, groundwater contamination. Even if it's minimal, we're all on well water out there, and this could definitely pose a problem with some of the chemicals that are used. They state that the chemicals that they're using may not or should not provide or cause any contamination, but there are studies proving that there are some contaminations from some of the supplies that are ground up into mulch. This operation has already stated they will not have 100% control of the materials they bring in for the mulching, so that poses a potential problem for the environmental. There's also going to be noise. They stated that the equipment used will only generate between 92 and 93 decibels at 10 to 40 feet. I don't know if anybody's familiar with noise, but a rock concert is anywhere between 90 and 120 decibels. So this is right in that level of rock concert noise. There are horses in this area. There's a lot of horses in this area. Sudden noise can spook horses, and some of these people actually ride their horses, and there could be a potential problem with the horses being spooked and causing injury. If anybody has mulch, I use mulch on my residence. The mulch does have an odor, a lot of odor. Some of it's pleasant. Most of the time, it's not so pleasant until it dissipates. I actually went and viewed their operation in Bridgeview. They stated there's very little to no dust because they keep it constantly wet. Well, I actually have a video of them loading a truck with some of this mulch, and there's quite a bit of dust after it's dried out. And when you have dust, you now have particulates that go into the air. Some of the particulates can be deadly to livestock and horses, particularly black walnut. If somehow or another black walnut gets in there and they mulch it, it can spread in the air, causing a deadly effect to the local livestock. The piles that they claim that they are going to utilize, they say it's going to be a small operation. So they stated they'd be more than willing to accommodate whatever the county mandates in order to put this in. And unfortunately, that would mean that they are going to spend a lot of money. And if they're going to spend this much money, why do they want to put in such a small operation if they're going to make this big of an investment? That means the operation will eventually grow into a much larger operation, which will spread to the local community. There's a fire risk. Is everybody familiar with the mulch fire that happened in New Lenox back in 2022? It took the fire department 5 days to put it out. You've got an airport right behind this individual's property, right behind my property. If you have enough smoke, these individuals can't use their private runway. And in that situation, that is a VFR runway, which stands for Visual Flight Rules. They don't have instrument landing there. So if you have an individual that's flying and he's coming back and anticipates to use that runway, and there's too much smoke, he has to divert, or they have to divert. If they don't have enough fuel to divert, they will land on the nearest available road or field. I was in the aviation business for 14 years. I'm very familiar with aviation. When the mulch fire does start, it's very difficult to put it out. This area does not have fire hydrants. So that means they're going to have to invest a lot of money in fire retardant. If we have a fire, Moni does not have the capability to bring in enough tanker trucks to put this out. So they're just going to have to control it to keep the fire under control so it doesn't spread. And if we have a lot of dry grass in the area, if it spreads, now we have wildfires, and that could definitely affect numerous other properties in the area. I truly hope that you take all this into consideration when you take your vote. I'm less concerned about the property values because I'm very much in favor of businesses What I am concerned about is the environmental impact, and this will definitely be an environmental impact. This property also has, that they're proposing to put this in, it has a easement right down the middle of it that runs north and south with a natural gas pipeline. Then there's another easement that runs east-west. In order to put in this type of operation, they're going to have to put in a very large concrete pad, which means that they will probably impede on the easements, and I don't think ARCO is going to allow them to do that. So that's just one more situation that you have preventing this from happening. So I just want to say thank you for your time. And if there's anything else or any questions you have from me, you're welcome to ask. Thank you.
Anyone else here to speak? Anyone else here to speak? Oh, I'm sorry, we do have some, I'm sorry, before we do have some to be read into a record.
This is from Mary Lockton, Meadow Creek resident. To whom it may concern, I live in Meadow Creek Air Park in Moni. I'm writing to express opposition to allowing a pallet grinding to mulch factory on the piece of property that abuts our subdivision on the north side. Besides the obvious noise and odor that will be disruptive to those who live around this proposed site, there are other potential dangers that could arise as a result of placing such a facility near residential properties, to include water and soil contamination and fire hazards. This petition seems to be submitted under the guise of a landscape type business, but the true use of the property has the potential for causing more than just a nuisance to its neighbors. I would like my concerns read at today's public meeting. Thank you. This is Leanne Sokelski. Good morning. I'm reaching out regarding the above case number and the request for permit of possible landscape business. I currently reside in Canterbury Lakes with a 2-year-old and another baby due in July. We moved from downtown Chicago to Moni a few years ago to escape the crime, pollution, and activity to enjoy more relaxed country living. It has been brought to our attention that the above request is for landscape business, however, seems to be more of a mulch factory. As I'm sure you and your board are aware, this brings many concerns for the health of our water, air community, and my family and children. We also previously owned land in Meadow Creek Air Park and currently have our plane at Bolt Field. We are active in the community and aviation. We strongly oppose this permit due to health concerns of pallets that would be used at this business and what may come. Our peaceful community is becoming an industrial haven, and we would like to see business excel, but not at the expense of our health. Please see below for concerns. Chemicals. Pallets are often treated with chemicals to prevent rot and pests. These chemicals can leach into the soil and be absorbed by plants, which can be harmful if the pallets were treated with toxic substances. Look for pallets that are labeled as heat treated or kiln dried rather than chemically treated, marked with MB for methyl bromide. 2, unknown history. Pallets are often reused multiple times and can come in contact with various contaminants such as chemicals, oils, and pathogens during their use. Rob Dolliver. I live in the Meadow Creek Air Park, and I am against allowing a pallet grinding to mulch factory on the property, as that abuts our development to the north. This petition has been submitted under the guise of being a landscape business. Besides the noise and odor the factory may bring, there are other potential issues with contamination as suggested in the attached article. Please read my concerns at the public meeting. Do I read this? It's the same definitions, chemical and unknown history, as the previous comment. Larry Loziak. I live in the Meadow Creek Air Park, and I'm against allowing a pallet grinding mulch to mulch factory on the property, as that abuts our development to the north. This petition has been submitted under the guise of being a landscape business. Besides the noise and odor the factory may bring, there are other potential issues with contamination as suggested in the attached article. Please read my concern at the public meeting. This also has the chemicals and unknown history definitions attached. Let's see. This is Harlan Wavoda. Good morning. I have recently heard of a plan for a pallet grinding plant that will abut our subdivision, Meadow Creek Air Park. There's so much land out there that wouldn't affect a homeowner. It really makes no sense to allow it to be located in this location. Please stop this crazy idea where it is proposed. If you are not familiar with Meadow Creek, I suggest you come and look at the community. You will definitely be able to see why this makes an unwelcome neighbor. I would personally attend the meeting. However, I will be working late. This is from Daniel Weber. Hello, I live in the Meadow Creek Air Park and I am against allowing a pallet grinding to mulch factory. This petition has been submitted under the guise of being a landscape business. Besides the noise and odor the factory may bring, there are other potential issues with contamination. Please do not allow this to go in. That's it.
So I just wanted to point out that those last comments that were read in should have been done under public comment and not in the public hearing. There is a distinction between public and comment and public hearing, and that public comment is simply that, just commentary where there is no question, no further inquiry. Public hearing, county board members should have the opportunity to ask questions of the person making comments. And because these came in via email, that opportunity is not there. So these should be, for purposes of the minutes, designated as public comment.
For the clarification. All right.
Motion to
Chair
close
Pretzel,
public
yeah.
hearing?
Motion by Pretzel, seconded by Ogala. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Balich? Yes. Trainier? Dean Schlattman? Van Dyne? Pretzel?
Yes.
Butler? Newquist? Richmond? Parker? Williams? Diaz? Winfrey? Coleman? Logan? Freeman? Revis? Mitchell? Ortiz? Berkowitz? Mueller? Costa? Ogala? 22.
22 in the affirmative, the motion carries. The public hearing is now closed. Chair Pretzel.
Thank you, Madam Executive. First on the agenda today, ordinance amending the Will County, Illinois zoning ordinance as amended for zoning case ZC 24008, Rapid Pallets, Inc., owner of record, and Sandra Medler of Rapid Pallets, Inc., agent, requesting a special use permit for a landscaping and lawn maintenance business in Monee Township, commonly known as vacant property on West Drawley Road, Monee, Illinois, County Board District Number 3. PZC denied this 0-6, and Land Use and Development also denied 0-7, and I so move.
Motion by Pretzel, seconded by Dean Schlattman. Is there any discussion? We're going to take a roll call vote on this.
Balich? Trainier? Dean Schlattman? Van Dyne? Pretzel?
No.
Butler? Newquist? Richmond? Parker? Williams? Diaz? Winfrey? Coleman? Logan? Freeman? Revis? Mitchell? Ortiz? Berkowitz? Mueller? Costa? Ogala? 22.
With 22 in the negative, the motion fails.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, ordinance amending the Will County, Illinois zoning ordinance as amended for zoning case ZC 24010, Lester Sonoris, owner of record, and Gurnor Schutte of Americo Real Estate Company, agent, requesting a special use permit for a self-service storage facility in Frankfort Township, commonly known as 19600 South Harlem Street, Frankfort, Illinois, County Board District Number 4. PZC approved 6-0 for a self-service storage facility with 2 conditions, and Land Use and Development approved 7-0 for a self-service storage facility with 2 conditions, and I so move.
Motion by Pretzel, seconded by Mueller. Any discussion? Nope. No. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Well, is it a previous roll? It's all no. Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Balich. Trainier. Dean Schlattman. Van Dyne. Pretzel.
Yes.
Butler. Newquist. Richmond. Parker. Williams. Diaz. Winfrey. Coleman. Logan. Freeman. Revis. Mitchell. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Costa. Ogala. 21 affirmative.
21 in the affirmative, the motion carries.
Number 3 on the agenda, ordinance amending the Will County, Illinois zoning ordinance as amended for zoning case ZC 24015. William M. Pollock Jr., David L. Pollock, and Joanne Arendi. Owner of record, Jonathan Carson of Campion Solar LLC. Trajectory Energy Partners agent, and Molly Schnitzger of Trajectory Energy Partners attorney, requesting a special use permit for solar energy facility, a variance for number of required mowings from 5 to 2 times, a variance for maximum ground cover plant height from 13 inches to 36 inches. This is in Wesley Township, commonly known as 1960 South Water Street, Wilmington, Illinois, County Board District Number 1. PZC approved 6-0, and for all of this, actually, for the solar energy facility with conditions, for the variance for the ground cover plant height from 13 inches to 36, and for solar energy facility with conditions. It doesn't say on here, but land use also approved this, I believe, 7-0, and I so move.
Motion by Pretzel, seconded by Mueller. Just real quick, County Board Member Diaz, would you like to be a yes on this one? Okay, then we'll do with previous roll then with the yes. Motion by seconded by, hold on a second. We had motion by Pretzel, seconded by Mueller, previous roll call by, with Diaz as a yes, by Newquist, seconded by Revis, all in favor. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Next on the agenda, ordinance amending the Will County, Illinois zoning ordinance as amended for zoning case ZC 24020, Chicago Title Land Trust, number 80002393294, dated November 15th, 2023. Owner of record, Jordan Belknap of TPE ILWI 277 LLC, an affiliate of TPE Development LLC. Agent, and Kyle Berry of McGuire Woods LLP attorney, requesting a special use permit for a commercial solar energy facility, a variance for number of required mowings from 5 times to 1 time, and a variance for maximum ground cover plant height from 13 inches to 36 inches in Washington Township, commonly known as vacant property located at the southeast corner of Indiana Avenue and Southwestern Avenue, Beecher, Illinois, County Board District Number 2. PZC approved 4-2 for a special use permit for a commercial solar energy facility with 4 conditions. They also approved 4-2 a variance for number of required mowings from 5 to 1, and a variance for ground cover plant height from 13 inches to 36 inches. Land Use and Development voted 6-1 to approve a special use permit for a commercial solar energy facility with 4 conditions, and I so move.
Motion by Pretzel, seconded by Trinier. Is there any discussion? Previous, no, okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Balich. Trainier. Dean Schlattman. Van Dyne. Pretzel.
Yes.
Butler. Newquist. Richmond. Parker. Williams. Diaz. Winfrey. Coleman. Logan. Freeman. Revis. Mitchell. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Costa. Ogala. Nineteen.
19 in the affirmative, the motion carries.
Okay, next we have 4 resolutions. First on the agenda, 24-113, overturning the decision of the Planning and Zoning Commission Appeal APCD 24002 by Sunset Property Management LLC. Applicant for zoning case number ZC 23131 in Joliet Township, commonly known as 323 Jesse Street, Joliet, Illinois 60433, County Board District number 6. This did fail in land use 0-7, but it still comes before the board today, and I so move.
Motion by Pretzel, seconded by O'Gala. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll? Just a reminder, we will need 17 votes for this to pass.
Balich. Trainier.
Just to be clear on this, so if your vote,
We're out of
Yeah.
discussion, so why don't you just repeat what we're voting on here?
yeah, so this is a vote to overturn the decision of the Planning and Zoning Commission appeal.
Appeal. Okay,
So a yes would be to overturn their decision, a no would be to make the landowner take down this overhang.
okay, so we good. Okay, we're gonna start fresh. County Board Member Ballage.
He says no, okay. Trainier. No. Dean Schlottman. Van Dyne. Pretzel.
No,
Butler. Newquist. Richmond. Parker. Williams. Diaz. Winfrey. Coleman. Logan. Freeman. Revis. Mitchell. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Costa. O'Gala. 22.
With 22 in the negative, the motion fails.
next resolution, 24-114, request to amend zoning case 23012, condition number 13, amending the Will County, Illinois zoning ordinance adopted and approved September 9th, 1947, as amended for zoning case ZC 23012, Amico Remediation Management Services LLC, Brian Quinlan of Plains Solar Energy Center LLC, agent requesting a special use permit for a solar farm and a variance for lot frontage from 80 feet to 0 feet. Shanahan Township, commonly known as Utility Amico Road, Shanahan, Illinois, County Board District number 1. And I so move.
Motion by Pretzel, seconded by Mueller. Any discussion? County Board Member O'Gala? You are on.
Thank you. Frankie, can you give us the PZC numbers and land use? You
I-
have that?
I don't have them and I didn't take good notes.
This one? Yeah, so for some reason. Do I need the mic on?
Push your button.
Sorry.
You're on, Julie. There you go.
Okay, thanks. For some reason, these have different agenda items. So on Land Use and Development Committee on May 14th, this was agenda item number 4 in other business. And the variance numbers, well, let's see. So we've got zoning case number 23-012, and then the requesting a special use permit. Those numbers are S-23006 and V-23-018. And then there's 2 PIN numbers for the variance of the lot frontage. Do you need those PIN numbers? Okay.
I think the question was how land use voted for this one. Do you recall? Hold on, I'm gonna get John. Hold on.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
You're on, sir. Oh, now you're not. Hold on.
In that case, it was 6-1
Okay.
in favor.
All right. County Board Member Trenier,
Thank you, Madam Executive. If I'm understanding this particular case correctly, we've already given them their special use permit. What they're now just coming back to us for is a variance for the lot frontage from 80 feet to 0 feet. Did I misunderstand?
No,
No.
that's
So
correct.
that's my understanding of what's going on here. And I've never driven on utility Amico Road, but I'm going to pretty much guess they don't have any neighbors.
Thank you. Any other, oh, sorry, County Board Member Newquist? You were on?
Thank you. If I remember correctly, this particular instance, the variance, everything was already approved. It was just clarifying language because the original language said they could not put any utilities underground where the landfill cap was. But so the attorney was concerned that it could be construed that they couldn't put anything underground. So I thought it was just a clarification to say that they could, to specify that it was only applied to where the landfill cap was, that they could put other things underground where there was no landfill cap.
Yeah, I missed some of that, but I think she summed it up quite well. So they originally came to us and said, we're not going to penetrate the ground on this particular solar project. Everything's going to just kind of sit on the landfill. Well, once they got deeper into the project and to give funding, the whole project's not on the landfill. So in places where it's not going to be where the cap is, they still want to put these panels in the traditional way. But the way that they came to us the first time, we didn't approve that. So it's really just the language that we're trying to give them a chance to change so they can get the proper funding and keep the project moving forward.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Balich. Trainier. Dean Schlottman. Van Dyne. Pretzel.
Yes.
Butler. Newquist. Richmond. Parker. Williams. Diaz. Winfrey. Coleman. Logan. Freeman. Revis. Mitchell. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Costa. Ogala.
19 in affirmative, the motion carries.
Thank you. Number 3, 24-115, authorizing a first extension, SCXT 24005, of special use permit for zoning case ZC 21100, Zeely LLC, owner of record, and Nathaniel Washburn of KGG LLC, attorney, in Joliet Township, commonly known as vacant property on Manhattan Road, Joliet, Illinois, County Board District Number 8, and I so move.
Motion by Pretzel, second by Ogala. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Balich. Trainier. Dean Schlottman. Van Dyne. Pretzel.
Yes.
Butler. Newquist. Richmond. Parker. Williams. Diaz. Winfrey. Coleman. Logan. Freeman. Revis. Mitchell. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Costa. Ogala. 22.
22 in the affirmative, the motion carries.
Last on the agenda under land use, 24-116, authorizing a first extension, SCXT 24006, of special use permit for zoning case ZC 22003, McMahon Farms LLC, owner of record, Richard Kavanaugh of KGG LLC, attorney, in Moni Township, commonly known as 2406 Offner Road, Beecher, Illinois, County Board District Number 1, and I so move.
Motion by Pretzel, seconded by Berkowitz. Any discussion? County Board Member Ogala?
Yeah, so Frankie's reading from the old County Board District. When it was approved, it was in County Board District 1. Now it's in County Board District 3, so I believe so.
Yeah.
That's all. That's the only thing.
Okay. Any other discussion? We had a motion, second, previous roll call by Diaz, seconded by Freeman. Will we have fresh, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Yes.
Okay, next Land Use and Development Committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, June 11th, 2024. And that's all I have for you today.
Thank you. Chair Richmond Finance.
Good morning, and I'm happy to report it's still morning. Have 5 items here. First one up is the monthly financial report to be placed on file, and I so move.
Motion by Richmond, seconded by Freeman. Previous roll call by Mitchell. Seconded by Trinier. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Second item, Resolution 24-117, authorizing county executive to execute necessary documents for delinquent tax program, and I so move.
Motion by Richmond, seconded by Trinier. Previous roll call by Ortiz, seconded by O'Gala. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Third item, Resolution 24-118, committing funds for University of Illinois Cooperative Extension, and I so move.
Motion by Richmond, seconded by Mueller. Any discussion? County Board or Ballage?
Yeah, I'm against giving them $75,000 because the money's got to come out of contingency. And there's a point when we're going to run out of contingency money because every time somebody needs something, we give it to them from contingency.
Thank you. Any other discussions? So we have a motion, we have a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Sorry. That's all right. Do you want to add something, County Board Member Mitchell? Okay, all right. It's all right. We haven't tired of the roll call. Okay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Balich. Trainier. Dean Schlottman. Van Dyne. Pretzel.
Yes.
Oh, good. So okay, folks, no, we're not going back this time, but we had a motion already. We were in discussion when you made your comment. So there was a motion, a second, a previous roll, and then not a previous roll. Then we started. So continue the roll, please.
Butler. Newquist. Richmond.
Yes.
Parker. Williams. Diaz. Winfrey. Coleman. Logan.
Yes.
Freeman. Revis.
No.
Mitchell.
Yes.
Ortiz. Berkowitz.
Yes.
Mueller.
Yes.
Costa. O'Gala. 3 noes. 19.
With 19 in the affirmative, the motion carries.
All right, fourth item up is Resolution 24-119, appropriating grant funds in the Restore, Reinvest, and Renew budget, and I so move.
Motion by Richmond, seconded by Revis. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Balich. Trainier. Dean Schlottman. Van Dyne. Pretzel.
Yes.
Butler. Newquist. Richmond.
Yes.
Parker. Williams. Diaz. Winfrey. Coleman. Logan.
Yes.
Freeman. Revis. Mitchell. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Costa. O'Gala.
22 in the affirmative, the motion carries.
Fifth and final item is Resolution 24-120, authorizing the use of capital improvement funds for interim funding of the Child Advocacy Project pending release of DCEO grant dollars, and I so move.
Motion by Richmond, seconded by Revis. All right, previous roll call by Diaz. There was a second by Trinier. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, and our next Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for right here on Tuesday, June 4th, 2024. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Public Works and Transportation, Chair Van Dyne.
Thank you and good morning, Madam Executive, and good morning to everyone here in attendance. The Public Works and Transportation Committee has 10 items to present, starting with number 1, Resolution 24-121, confirming award of contract to Precision Pavement Markings, $153,900 for countywide reflective market pavement markings, all county board districts, and I would like to make that motion.
Motion by Van Dyne, seconded by O'Gala. Previous roll call by Newquist, seconded by Diaz. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
24-122, improvement by county under the Illinois Highway Code for countywide reflective pavement markings, all districts using the MFT funds, $170,000. I so move.
Motion by Van Dyne, seconded by Winfrey. Previous roll call by Mueller, seconded by Freeman. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 24-123, confirming award of contract to K5 Construction Corp., $992,629.48 for Weber Road resurfacing. County Boards District 9 and 11, and I so move.
Motion by Van Dyne, seconded by Ortiz. Previous roll call by Berkowitz, seconded by Newquist. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution 24-124, improvement by county under the Illinois Highway Code for Weber Road resurfacing, using our MFT funds, $1.1 million, districts 9 and 11. I so move.
Motion by Van Dyne, seconded by Costa. Previous roll call by Freeman, seconded by Ortiz. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
24-125, confirming award of contract to PT Faro, $6,080,745.91 for the roadway improvement on Cedar Road from Francis to Lennox Road, County Board District 5. I so move.
Motion by Van Dyne, seconded by Butler. Previous roll call by Costa, seconded by O'Gala. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
24-126, confirming award of contract to PT Faro Construction, $618,002.30 for the Arsenal Maintenance Facility, District 1, and I would like to make the motion.
Motion by Van Dyne, seconded by Dean Schlottman. Previous roll call by O'Gala, seconded by Diaz. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
24-127, confirming award of contract to PT Faro Construction, $179,919.40 for the Manhattan Road District resurfacing in District 2. I so move.
Motion by Van Dyne, seconded by Pretzel. Previous roll call by O'Gala, seconded by Diaz. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
24-128, authorizing an agreement between the County of Will and Natural Gas Pipeline Company of America for the reimbursement for relocating facilities for the improvements of Gauger Road, District 2. I so move.
Motion by Van Dyne, seconded by Pretzel. Previous roll call by Mueller, seconded by Diaz. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
24-129, authorizing approval of an IDOT County Joint Agreement for improvements on Bell Road, County Highway 16 at the intersection of 143rd, County Highway 37, District 4, and I so move.
Motion by Van Dyne, seconded by Trinier. Previous roll call by Mueller, seconded by Diaz. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
And lastly, 24-130, improvement by county under the Illinois Highway Code for improvements of Bell Road, County Highway 16 at the intersection of 143rd, County Highway 37, using our MFT funds, $10,725,000, District 4, and I so move.
Motion by Van Dyne, seconded by Dean Schlottman. Previous roll call by Berkowitz, seconded by Mueller. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Our next Public Works and Transportation Committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, June 4th, 2024, and that will conclude our report. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Public Health and Public Safety Committee, Chair Freeman.
Thank you, Madam Executive. At this month's Public Health and Public Safety meeting, the County Coroner Lori Summers provided an update. The Chief Epidemiologist at the Health Department, Alpesh Patel, provided a measles update. And the Administrator from Sunny Hill Nursing Home, Maggie McDowell, discussed the federal nursing home mandates. I have one resolution to bring forward that unanimously passed committee. It is Resolution number 24131, extending Sunny Hill Nursing Home admission policy for non-Will County residents, and I so move.
Motion by Freeman, seconded by O'Gala. Previous roll call by Mueller, seconded by Winfrey. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Our next meeting is scheduled for June 11th at 9 a.m. and that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, I'm really slow today, sorry. Moving on to Legislative Committee, Chair Berkowitz.
Thank you, Madam Executive. Good morning to everyone here today. I have one resolution to bring forward, 24-132. This amends Resolution number 24-38, amending our fiscal year 2024 state legislative agenda to include opposition to mass transit legislation, and I so move.
Motion by Berkowitz, seconded by Revis. Previous roll call by Trinier, seconded by Parker. All in favor? Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And our next legislative committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, June 4th, 2024.
All right, I'm sorry. Oh, did you want to be a no? I'm sorry. Okay. On that last one, we're going to have Ortiz, isn't it? No, thank you. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, I'm looking for County Board Member Mueller here. There you are. Okay, moving on to capital improvements, Chair Mueller.
Good morning, everyone. This month in our meeting, we had our regular facilities report. We were going to have a presentation, which is being postponed until next month's meeting, so join us on June 4th for our next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Landfill Committee, Chair Dean Schlottman.
Good morning, Madam Executive. At this time, there is nothing to move forward for landfill. We are still in the infancy of finding different ways to expand and move on the landfill, if that's the way we're going to go, expansion or a new one, or if we have one at all. So if you would like to hear more, please come to our next meeting, June 6th, 2024, here at the county building.
Thank you.
Executive Committee?
Yep, no, are you on? I can't see. You are on. Okay, moving on to Chair Ogala, Executive Committee.
You know, it's very hard up there. It was tough to, I didn't want it in front of my face, so I'll remember to put it up for you. Yes, they're very long. I have 6 items on the agenda today to discuss. First item is Resolution 24-133, authorizing the county executive to execute an intergovernmental agreement with the village of Flossmoor to provide access to the countywide radio system, and I so move.
Motion by Ogala, seconded by Freeman. Previous County Board Member Ortiz, would you like to be a yes on this? Okay, so previous roll call with added County Board Member Ortiz by Berkowitz, seconded by Winfrey. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 2 is Resolution 24-134, authorizing the county executive to execute an intergovernmental agreement with the village of Stager to provide access to the countywide radio system, and I so move.
Motion by Ogala, seconded by Newquist. Previous roll call by Freeman, seconded by Ortiz. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 3 is Resolution 24-135, authorizing the county executive to execute a mutual aid agreement with the Illinois Emergency Management Mutual Aid System, and I so move.
Motion by Ogala, seconded by Freeman. Previous roll call by Berkowitz, seconded by Winfrey. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 4, Resolution 24-136, authorizing an RFP for landscape architect for 14 West Jefferson Street, Joliet, also known as the former old courthouse. I'd like to make a motion to remove it from the agenda.
Motion to remove from the agenda by Ogala, seconded by Dean Schlottman. Is there any discussion on the? Oh, do you want, okay, on removal of, from the agenda item? Okay. County Board Member Van Dyne, just give me a second.
Thank you. I have no issue with the removal. I was just wondering if there was a reason behind it.
Yeah, there's a reason behind it. That's why I'm removing it, yeah.
Would you be willing to put it on the record?
Absolutely, Joe.
Thank you.
So we need to have further discussion of exactly what is being looked at for that particular location. And we're going to be looking at getting a consultant to give us some options of what we might do there.
County Board Member Revis on the removal.
I'm just wondering, would that mean number 5 is also being removed? They seem to go hand in hand with each other.
Well, we'll have to wait. We'll,
Okay.
let's just hold off
Suspenseful
until
thing
we
to
get,
wait
yeah.
for, right?
Understood. I
Yep.
would also like to go on record. I think it would be nice to get a request for proposal on something like this. I don't think that means that we should move forward, but hearing our options couldn't be the worst thing in the world. So anyway, just wanted to go on record saying that.
County Board Member Berkowitz. So hold on a second. I don't have you pressed. There you go.
Thank you. So I guess I'm just a little confused. Are we reconsidering whether or not it will be a park?
No, we're not
Or-
reconsidering that. We're just not going to go forward with an RFP at this time. Not at this time.
Okay, thank you.
So we have a motion and a second to remove it. Previous roll call by Newquist, seconded by Mueller. All in favor? Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Item number 5 is Resolution 24-137, authorizing the establishment of the property at 14 West Jefferson Street, Joliet, Illinois, as a park installation, and I so move.
Motion by Ogala, seconded by Butler. Is there any discussion on this item? Madam Clerk, please call the roll. There is some discussion, late button here. County, let me see here. County Board Member Van Dyne.
Thank you. I have stated this at executive committee. I didn't have an issue with the RFP, but of course that's just been removed. The issue I do have is with the park. Considering this a permanent or temporary park installation at this location, I think it's a little premature to do that. The city of Joliet does have a couple parks within walking distance, and to add another one just doesn't seem to make sense right now. Also, I know that there's been attempts to talk with the city of Joliet since this property is located right in the middle of their downtown. I don't believe those attempts have been successful, so I would like more opportunity to have discussions with the city of Joliet. So I will be a no on this one. Thank you.
Chair Ogala.
Thank you. So we have to do something with this property. We just can't leave it sitting there how it is today. And the current plan is, after the demolition's complete, which they have a lot of stuff to remove still, is to fill the hole in where the basement was and everything and just put grass. Okay, so I have talked with the county executive. We do have an agreement that we should do something beyond just that, because we're not going to go out to bond for a while. So looking at what we might do, and one of the things is provide some lighting in there so that it is a safe space. It's not a black hole in the middle of Joliet. So looking at the possibilities of making it just something small to larger, maybe something else that would be a permanent park. We're just calling it that for now, just to designate it as, that's really all that is.
County Board Member Butler.
So when we were discussing whether or not we should reconsider the demolition of the building, we had often mentioned that it would be nice to have a green space there. And some people were opposed to it, but there was many people that, thought it would be a good idea. And the idea of holding out for this park because we might build another building where there was already a building available, it seems like like we wasted a lot of money ripping down a building only to build another one in its place when the other building was just as good. So I don't understand holding off on designating this a park. If we determined that we weren't going to put a building or we didn't need a building there, then we should move on to the next phase. And it's gone now, so let's continue with the green space.
County Board Member Trinier.
Thank you, Madam Executive. I can totally support throwing some grass there, throwing some light there, put some sprinklers in if you want. But I just don't see the need to designate it as a park. That's kind of my concern. I mean, if we were going to designate it as something, we've had since 2019 to talk about it, and that's never been the case. We went to the city of Joliet and asked them to weigh in on saving the old building, and they wouldn't. We haven't met with them to have any particular discussions. I just think maybe this is a little premature at this time. Like I said, we have the agreement that it was going to get grass on it. If somebody wants to bring forward a motion to install some lights, I could vote for that, but I'm not sure I can vote to make it a park, a designation as a park, because we haven't discussed it thoroughly. There's been no discussion in Capitol. I don't want this to be a case just like it was in 2019 where we voted without basically any discussion, or certainly nobody coming in to talk about alternatives as we did in 2019 to tear down the courthouse and then somehow hamstring ourselves to that decision that it has to stay in infinity. So I'm not in favor of designating it as a park. We can treat it as a park, but I don't want a designation. Thank you.
County Board Member Diaz.
Thank you. First off, there seems to be nothing permanent going on here in Will County. We just tore down a building. So a couple trees, maybe a park bench. How is that so permanent? This is where I'm really confused by this. And I'll be honest, I think we need to have some fencing and not an ugly fence. So a pretty wrought iron fence. Please remember Morning Star Mission homeless shelter is right around the corner. It's down 1 block and over 2 blocks. That is not that far. Do we want people using it as a homeless encampment? I vote no to that, which is why this is very important to me as it is in my district. Thank you.
County Board Member Newquist.
Thank you. If we end up designating this as a park, I'm not opposed to that, but I agree with Joe and Jackie that I think it's a little premature. When I read the resolution, there's nothing in there that I'm interpreting as temporary. It's basically saying that we're designating it as park space. And then my other comment on the idea of a fence. So is this going to be a private park? Is this going to be a park that, do we lock the gate? Do only certain people have access to it? It seems to me that if it's going to be a park, it has to be accessible by everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. County Board Member Williams.
Yes, it was mentioned that we haven't talked to the city of Joliet. We have reached out to them as part of the ad hoc Old Courthouse Committee. We have reached out to them. They have not been forthcoming in coming to our committee meetings or in actually just responding to us. Also, it's not up to the city of Joliet what happens to that property. So even though they can weigh in, it's not their decision. It is our decision. I don't have a problem with it being a park if we decide that that's not a terminology that we want to use to designate it as. There was nothing when the talk of demolishing the courthouse, there was nothing talked about except that it possibly could be a green space, although we were told that there was some talk about what to do with it. We seem to have tore down a building and not have any idea of what we're going to do after we've torn it down. So without any plan that was made in 2019, this actually is a plan, and I'm in favor of designating it as a park.
County Board Member Berkowitz.
Thank you, Madam Executive. So for the county board members that are not clear about what our plans were for this parcel, They're always welcome to come to our committee meetings and participate in the discussion. We have had a lengthy discussion about the opportunities at this parcel once the rubble is removed. And we understand that people want more sustainability and they want more parks and open space. And for that reason, we spent a lengthy amount of time with Dave Tack, sharing ideas and visions, and that was all documented. And we put all of those ideas together to come forward with this proposal to establish this green space here that would be complement the residents, the people who are visiting the courthouse or just in Joliet for business. The prior courthouse, I know because I spent time out there a number of times, did have some tables sitting in front of it. And quite often throughout the day, people who maybe were waiting a long time in between cases would often sit out there. Now, it wasn't pretty. It was, on the concrete, and it was very close to the street, but it was functional and it was well used. And I know because I myself was out there several times with different people who were there for business. So our committee spent a lot of time talking about this with staff and with Jennifer's staff. And we wanted to bring something that would add to the vibrancy and to the character of the county seat. And this vision is not permanent because we've seen if we can tear down concrete, nothing is permanent. So we're just talking about grass and perennials and pollinators and a place where people can come together, relax, spend time, and be safe. And that's all this is. So if we can just go back to the basic request, we'd like to take this parcel, once the rubble is removed, and make it a wonderful place that people can benefit from, whether they need a little bit of peace and quiet, whether they need some fresh air, whether they have some time to kill and they want to be outside rather than sitting in an uncomfortable chair, or whether or not they just live downtown and they need a place to go to enjoy the great outdoors. So this is what the project is all about. Nothing more than that. So I encourage my fellow board members to support this. And I'd like to call the vote. Thank you.
Fortunately, once you talk, you don't get to call the vote. Nice try, though. County Board Member Diaz. Hold on, let me get you on there. Oh, I'm sorry, County Board Member Ortiz.
I turned my button.
County Board Member Rebus.
Going back to my previous comment on the agenda item number 4, I am ready to, or for at least for me, I think it would make sense to go get the request for proposal for said park before establishing the property as a park. So again, I think a park is a contending idea for this property, but it just doesn't make sense to establish it as a park before we know what that park would contain and look like and all that stuff. So I'm a no on this. I encourage others to be a no as well.
We have a couple more speakers here, just because a couple people mentioned my name here. I do want to note that, yeah, we have the county chairperson. I have spoken. I think we know that we need to ensure that there is safety as our priority here. I think the word park is getting people a little bit nervous. But we do have to ensure that there is safety. We know this is a temporary thing. I would like us to continue to talk to Joliet. I understand they have been invited to committee meetings, but I'm going to say that's probably not the best way to do it, because you go on committee meetings, you brainstorm out loud and it gets on Facebook. So I think there is a way to talk to the city. We are the county seat. We are a neighbor to them. So I hope we are able to have some discussions with the city of Joliet, but we do absolutely have to address safety in that area. And so that does need to be noted. Moving on, we have County Board Member Pretzel. I'm putting you on, sir. There you go, County Board Member Pretzel.
Thank you, Madam Executive. So for the better part of a decade, the residents of the Joliet area and the hundreds of thousands of people that visit each year have been dealing with construction of a new courthouse. They've been looking at the old courthouse all boarded up. Now they're dealing with a demolition of a building. I mean, it's been a nightmare for these people. And now it's an eyesore as well. I think we owe it to them to put something nice there as quickly as possible, keeping in mind that maybe at some point, several members of this board seem to want to build something else there. That's years away. I mean, we're at least 2 years away from even being able to figure out if we can get the money for it. Then you know how long it takes to figure out what the building's going to look like and then begin construction. We're several years away from building anything there. I think we owe it to the people of Joliet to make it pretty for the next several years. And I'd like to do that as quickly as possible instead of dragging our feet. I think we owe it to them. Thank you.
Thank you, County Board Member Mitchell.
Oh, it's my turn. All right. So it seems to me the problem is the word park. And another problem I heard was that it didn't seem temporary in the resolution. So is it okay to move to change the language or amend the resolution to say temporary green space? Maybe temporary green space.
You are welcome to make that motion if you'd like.
Okay, so
Okay, so there's a motion to add language to add temporary green space in lieu of park.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a second by Revis. Is there any discussion on the amendment? County Board Member Balich. Hold on, let me get you on here, sir. There you go.
You know, at the executive committee, we discussed temporary and permanent in depth. And we talked about all this stuff. And we talked about the whole idea of the language of a word park. And we talked about permanent and temporary. We removed all that stuff because we said we got a building, we might want to make another county building, not a Joliet building, a county building there at one point. We might want that. We don't know. 5 years from now, we don't know. But your amendment, yeah, it's fine, but that's already been talked about and said it's not going to happen. It's going to just be a place. You call it a green space, a park, a thing. The language doesn't matter. It's just going to be something there that we got to make it safe, like the county executive said. That's it.
The word permanent from
We did remove the word permanent. And we said it's just going to be a park because there was other words that got removed. It was really an in-depth conversation. Most of the people weren't at the executive committee if they're not on the committee. So, and we can go on and on about this thing, but it's kind of stupid because the language is the problem. If you call it a park, if you call it a green space, you call it you call it a thing, it's all the same thing. We have to do something with that piece of property and make it safe, period. And amending it to be not permanent, we already said it wasn't going to be.
All right, so is there any other discussion on the amendment? Any discussion on the amendment? County Board Member Pretzel.
Again,
Are you talking about yeah, sorry, I don't see, they have that side cut off in this one. Sorry about that. I'm anxious for you. You're too quiet today, County Board Member Butler. I'm a little nervous. So, all right, I did again. All right, there you're off now. County Board Member Pretzel. Oh, now you're on again. Oh, no, you're not. Okay. So this is on the amendment, sir. Go ahead. No, that's right. You're not on. Okay, there you go.
My understanding is that if we do nothing at all, it's going to be a grassy field. Isn't that what a green space is? I I don't understand what we're talking about with the green space. So I think we have to have a plan. Otherwise, we're getting grass, which if that's what y'all want, that's fine. But I think we should do something to make kind of the center of our downtown area look nice.
County Board Member Butler on the amendment, correct? All right.
So by classifying this as a park, does that mean that it can never be changed? Okay. And it just seems to me that if you classify it as a park, it gets given to a certain division that takes care of it. I mean, to me, it seems like if you made it a green space, does that mean it goes to forest preserve? I mean, it just park and then our maintenance people take care of it. So I don't understand why we would be scared of the word park. Just designates it as a place where people can go and, in a public space. So I would say no to an amendment and just keep it at park.
Very good. County, we are seat 27. County Board Member Ogala.
Because I do have it low.
I was going to say
You
County
can't
Board
see.
Member 27.
That would be me. Thank you. And I like that number, 27, odd numbers alone. Okay, thank you. So I just want to reiterate really what Steve said is at the executive committee, we did discuss everything on the executive agenda. Some people were not there. If you're not there, you really shouldn't say we didn't talk about it because we did talk about it. And it did pass. And we changed it from the word permanent park. We did remove permanent and just leave it as a park. Therefore, it could be a park permanently or it could be a park temporarily. And if you look up the definition of a park, it's a large public green area in a town, which is what this would be. It just putting it as a designation as a park. And yes, future county board can look at the situation. And when we come time and we have the ability to bond and say, hey, listen, we'd like to make this temporary park into a really fabulous permanent park. Or maybe they say, we're going to take this temporary park, or park rather, not even the word temporary, this park, and we're going to put a building up. But right now, today, as the county executive said, we have to make a plan to make sure that we have a safe area for the residents that anybody who comes into to the city of Joliet, whether they visit the Rialto, whether they go to eat, whether they're at the court, or whether they're going to the train station. So really, it's just a semantic thing. And I think it seems like it's a pretty darn easy thing. So thank you.
County Board Member Dean Schlotman. There you go.
All right. I guess we're still talking about the amendment here.
We're talking about the amendment.
So I'm gonna not talk about the amendment and let.
Hold off then.
Yes.
Okay. So County Board Member Mitchell.
Okay, so my initial thought was because people had problems with the language that was in the resolution. So I wasn't trying to change what the idea was. It was that people were uncomfortable with how the idea was presented. So in light of that, I'm going to withdraw. I'm going to withdraw because apparently that's not what other people don't want. That's not what they want. So I'm going to withdraw my amendment if you don't mind.
We have a motion and a second, so we have to go on with the vote there. So would anyone else like to address the amendment? County Board Member Richmond?
Well, you threw in the last word amendment, and I'm not sure exactly what. I'm just going to state something that's the obvious, and it was part of our executive discussion before, and Joe brought it up in regards to the safety and the lighting. I think realistically, our objective right now, in short order, is to secure the property and make it safe for Joliet. Whether it's, making sure it's grassed over or lit up or anything like that, identify those things. I think from there, then we need to go out and figure out what we want to do. I think we had a very healthy discussion at executive, and that's all. I just want to make sure that from a perspective of the county that we secure that so that we have the most limited amount of liability possible. And I think lighting is probably one of the first things that needs to be addressed. So I just want to make sure that isn't take us months to get done. So that's all I had. Sorry.
All right, thank you. So we have, doesn't look like let's see. So on the amendment as well, County Board Member Ortiz, hold on, you're going to get on. There you go.
I would like to call the question.
We have to take a vote on, is anyone else, I don't think anyone else was speaking anyway. So, okay, so we're all good anyway. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so we are going to now vote on a motion to amend the current resolution to change the word. I'm sorry. We're making a motion to call the question. Is there a second on that? Second on Mueller. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. We're calling the question. This is just to call the question. This is just, no, the question is to stop. We're calling the question. So just to move on to the amended vote. So we're ending discussion. We're voting to end the discussion. County Board Member or Madam Clerk.
Balich. Trainier. Dean Schlattman. Van Dyne. Pretzel. Butler. Newquist. Richmond. Parker. Williams. Diaz. Winfrey. Coleman. Logan. Freeman. Revis. Mitchell. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Costa. Ogala. 22.
22 the affirmative, the motion carries. So now we are moving on to the amended 24-137 to amend the words to exchange park to temporary green space. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. This is the amendment to change park to temporary green space.
Balich. Trainier. Dean Schlattman. Van Dyne. Pretzel. Butler. Newquist. Richmond. Parker. Williams. Diaz. Winfrey. Coleman. Logan. Freeman. Revis. Mitchell. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Costa. Ogala. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 no's. What do you have? 15 negative, yeah. 1, 2, 6, 7.
15 in the negative, the motion fails, but it wasn't a bad, you had people in there, so it was a good motion. It was fine. So now we're going back to the original. We have the original motion, which is authorizing the establishment of property at 14 West Jefferson Street as park installation. And is there any discussion on that one? We're going to continue discussion on that. So continuing with discussion, County Board Member Berkowitz.
Okay, thank you. So let's just look at the basic facts, and it's very simple. A park means a green space, whether it be grass, plants, perennials, it's green. The only other option, this is a piece of earth where something is going to grow. And we either do some landscaping and we control what grows there, or Mother Nature finds a way. So we're proposing to do some landscaping. It's a park. There's nothing devious about it. Now, if we don't want that ability, the only other option then is we have to put rocks or concrete or something that isn't necessarily considered green. So we have a choice here. We can make it a friendly environment, or we can just pave it over and all the problems go away. So that's the simple choice to make here. And that's why we went forward as a park installation. Thank you.
Thank you. County Board Member Butler.
Thank you. I just want to remind everybody in this long battle to save this building, that one of the things that we had discussed, that we were going to save the footprint of the old courthouse out front. Also, there's statues that are being preserved out there as well. Just seems that the most obvious and useful use for this space at this point would be a park. It would get to preserve the history, and the idea of a fence is a good one, not to keep people out, but to use hours of use so that at nighttime it can be closed and just kept free of, crime or whatever. And in the mornings open, just like any forest preserve park would be open. So it would not be a private park. It would be just a protected space in off hours, just. So I would like to see that some of the things that were given to us to kind of make us feel like, there would be some preservation of our history would remain, as we talked about in previous board meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. County Board Member Dean Schlottman,
I would like to call the question.
is there a second to that? Seconded, call the question by Dean Schlottman, seconded by Parker. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. This is to call the question.
Balich, Trainier, Dean Schlottman, Van Dyne, Pretzel, Butler, Newquist, Richmond, Parker, Williams, Diaz, Winfrey, Coleman, Logan, Freeman, Revis, Mitchell, Ortiz, Berkowitz, Mueller, Costa, Ogala. 22.
22 affirmative. We are calling the question. So we are now voting on item number 5 in your agenda, Resolution 24-137. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Balich, Trainier, Dean Schlottman, Van Dyne, Pretzel, Butler, Newquist, Richmond, Parker, Williams, Diaz, Winfrey, Coleman, Logan, Freeman, Revis, Mitchell, Ortiz, Berkowitz, Mueller, Costa, Ogala. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Affirmative.
15 in the affirmative, the motion carries.
Yeah, sorry.
Good. So you're back to you.
I didn't think it would be so long just to discuss that, but apparently we had a lot of conversation. Thank you. Moving on to item number 6, Resolution 24-138, directing the Will County Division of Transportation to cease moving forward with the solicitation for purchase and the purchase of property for the 143rd Street project referenced in Resolution 24-27. And I so move.
Motion by Ogala, seconded by Revis.
And I'd like to talk about why.
Is there any discussion? All right, very good. Do you want to start? Or you want to
Yes,
add?
I'd like to start. So the reason why I put this on the agenda is because of the fact that there is a lawsuit that's out there. We do not know what the outcome of that lawsuit is going to be, and therefore I think it's premature for us to be purchasing land and or soliciting purchase of land. That doesn't mean if a landowner wants to sell to DOT their property, assuming that the lawsuit will not go through or that something's going to happen there. If they want to, the property owner could do that. But I just think that right now with the lawsuit pending, that we should halt all that and not purchase property that we may not need for any type of future expansion. And we don't know that. It's not clear at this time. So that's why I have asked for this resolution, and I would like your support. Thank you.
County Board Member Trinier.
Thank you. Good morning. It is still morning, Madam Executive. I will be voting no on this resolution. I heard from a lot of residents when we had public comment on this issue that, they wanted to see us at the very least put in, the third lane, the turn lane. And we did hear from, I believe, from our county engineer, highway engineer, that, land would have to be purchased to do that, roughly a similar amount. So, the residents have let us know that they're perfectly okay with additional lanes. I do think that your veto stands, and I do believe a court of law will say that. Of course, I'm not a judge. I won't be judging in the case if it ever makes it anywhere. But, obviously there is some expansion that the residents in the community are willing to accept. I've driven the road multiple times. I definitely think they need wider access. There's a lot of traffic, a lot of backups. So I will be voting no. Thank you very much.
Thank you, County Board Member Van Dyne.
Thank you. I think Jackie makes a good point about the right-of-way acquisition. Either way, the property needs to be purchased. 95% of the property needs to be purchased to make a third suicide lane, they call it, or turn lane rather. But I'd like to make another point, and I think this county board is sending mixed signals here, because whenever we passed our legislative agenda, we are asking the state legislation to grant us permission to quick take property for the expansion of this road. And now this resolution is stating that we don't want to move forward with any negotiations whatsoever. I feel like, if we continue to do this and we ask the state legislation certain things that we would like, I don't know if we don't even know what we want and what we like. This is, in my mind, this is just a feeble attempt to stop the project. I don't like it. So I just wish everybody can just move forward with this and vote no. Thank you.
County Board Member Revis.
I would like to call the question.
Is there a second? Is there a second? Okay, motion by Revis, seconded by Mueller. We are taking a vote. We don't take discussion on that, so we need to take a roll call on calling the question. We're taking a roll call on calling the question. Excuse me, we're moving on. Take the roll call.
Balich.
When we had discussed before about the meetings, that you said that we agreed that when you tried to take discussion, that you would take the point of view from both sides and take turns. You took almost all the negative, and you knew who's negative and who's positive, and you didn't allow one of the people who supported this to talk.
As I've explained to you, this comes up in the order of how people press their buttons, and even better yet now, it's a seat number. So I'm literally doing this and writing them down as they come down. So we don't have to do it that way. You do it by how they come up here. This is what this system is for. So we have a first, we have a second. We're going to call the question. We're taking a vote on calling the question.
Balich. No. Trainier. Dean Schlattman.
Yeah.
Van Dyne.
Yes.
Pretzel. Yes. Butler.
No.
Newquist. Richmond. Parker. Williams. Diaz. Winfrey. Coleman. Logan. Freeman. Revis. Mitchell. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Costa. Ogala. No. Yeah, 19 affirmative.
19 affirmative. We are going to call the question. Madam Clerk, please call The roll call on resolution number 24-138.
Balich. Trainier. Dean Schlotman. Van Dyne. Pretzel. Butler. Newquist. Richmond. Parker. Williams. Did you say yes? Diaz. Winfrey. Holman. Logan. Freeman. Revis. Mitchell. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Costa. Ogala. 13, yes. What do you have? 13, yes.
13 in the affirmative, the motion carries. We'll next move on to appointments. Chair Ogala.
Okay, the next executive committee meeting is
Oh, I'm
scheduled
sorry.
for, that's okay. That was a long time.
Yeah.
Just 6 agenda items, Jennifer.
Yep,
and
that was good.
That's right, but still, we entertained ourselves for a while. The next executive committee meeting is Thursday, June 6th. Hope to see you there. You can have your discussions. If you attend, you hear what's discussed. Moving on to appointments by the county executive, we have 3 appointments to make today. The first is Resolution 24-139, approving the county executive appointments to the Will Kankakee Regional Development Authority, and I so move.
Motion by Ogala, seconded by Mueller. Madam Clerk, please call, or all in favor? Any,
Roll call. Yeah.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Balich. Yes. Trainier.
Yes.
Dean Schlotman. Van Dyne. Pretzel. Butler. Newquist. Richmond. Parker. Williams. Diaz. Winfrey. Coleman. Logan. Freeman. Revis. Mitchell. Ortiz. Berkowitz. Mueller. Costa. Ogala.
Yes.
22 in the affirmative, the motion carries.
Thank you. Item number 2 is Resolution 24-140, approving the county executive appointments to the Joliet Regional Port District, and I so move.
Motion by Ogala, seconded by Revis. Previous roll call by Ortiz, seconded by Parker. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Last item is number 3, Resolution 24-141, approving a county executive appointments to the Oak Highland Ingalls Park Sanitary District of Will County, and I so move.
Motion by Ogala, seconded by Mueller. Previous roll call by Diaz, seconded by Ortiz. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move on to public comment. Are there any public comments relevant to matters under the jurisdiction of the county? Any public comments today for anything under the jurisdiction of the county? Any public comments? Seeing, gosh, you did that. County Board or Madam Clerk?
This is from Mike Rudy. I would like to make a statement and ask a question to all of the Will County Board and the state of Illinois. I have lived in Will County my entire life and have owned a home in Will County for just about 50 years. I have dutifully paid my real estate taxes each of those 50 years. Now our children are grown and gone. I am 70 and my wife is 68. We are both on Social Security and very small pensions, annuities. Yet each year the taxes keep going up. We don't have kids in the schools or junior college. We don't use any of the county services either. So between the annual tax bill and auto, home insurance, and utilities, which also keep going up, there's not a whole lot left over each month. So the question is this: when are senior citizens of Will County going to get a permanent break with an exemption or waiver with the property taxes? The seniors built this county to where it is today by our paying all these years, and most have paid our entire lives, 60 years or more. Most of us would like to stay in our homes that we have worked hard to own, but between taxes, insurances, and the general cost of living, sadly, many of us are getting pushed out of our home due to affordability. 34 years ago, my taxes were $3,000 for the year. Now they are close to $10,000 for the year. If folks are over 65, then they should all be given an exemption for these taxes that are, for the most part, services we don't use, including schools, college, county services, and for many of us, even park district items that seniors don't really use. It really is high time that Will County government and even the state of Illinois government take care of and protect its seniors. We deserve it and have earned it. Paying a lifetime part of our wages out, exempt us from property taxes, help us to better afford and enjoy what years we have left. Anyone running for office on that platform has my vote. Sadly, we hear nothing on this topic, and Social Security improvements too. Seniors don't seem to be even thought of in any regard. Hopefully you will all read this and consider the impact this all has on many people. If any of you are not seniors yet, you will indeed one day be one, and you'll be facing the situation too, just like the majority of the seniors in our county right now. Thank you for your time, Michael Rudy.
Thank you. We'll now move on to comments by county board members. Please press your button and I will do my hand-eye coordination. County Board Member Revis.
Thank you, Madam Executive. I have been talking quite a bit about property taxes with residents in my district. And I've also been doing quite a bit of research about general obligation bonds. There was an accusation made that I didn't understand what a general obligation bond does, but I did more research. And if you have a bond that expires for a certain amount of money, let's say $150 million, and then you immediately issue a new set of bonds for $50 million, the property taxes are not decreasing because of that new issuance of the bond. They are decreasing in spite of that issuance of the new bond. I have a video that I can provide that explains this, but it's relevant to what we do here on the board because we need to know how these financial instruments work to make better decisions to lower our community's property taxes. Anyway, in inspiration of hearing many of the concerns from our neighbors about property taxes, I put together something that I would like to read on behalf of Will County residents. Eggs, milk, bread, more expensive than they've ever been. Rent, gasoline, toothpaste too. Can't you see what broken government is doing to you? The taxpayers tapped their savings down the drain. The fact is clear, Will County families are in pain. People and businesses move away to places they can thrive, leaving behind the rest of us just struggling to survive. The annual county budget, millions out of whack. We face more taxes, more fees. It's the only way to pay it back. Politicians like to overspend. Government is the cause of inflation. At this point, it seems like just another expected violation. Along with higher costs, communities deal with more crime, the two preventing young people from experiencing the county in our prime. Stuck in petty fights, all progress brought to a still. It's time for change, but tough to swallow such a bitter pill. Good ideas sideline, leaving families, seniors, and small businesses feeling blue. But what takes priority? Pay raises for county officials and even buying a helicopter too. As the days go by, we watch our county crumble. Remaining families with mounting debts, repayments, and bills are trying not to stumble. Our path is unsustainable. County government endlessly expands. But hear me, it's up to us to say no more and finally take a stand. Let's unify now while solutions can still apply. We can work together, have meaningful discussions, and wave our sad old ways goodbye. But hurry, fellow board members, with budget season coming fast. We are running out of time to tell this broken government it can promptly kiss our behinds. Thank you.
County Board Member Diaz.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm not even going to respond to that. I just wanted to wish all our nurses and their ancillary staff for Will County Happy Nurses Day, Happy Nurses Month. Thank you.
County Board Member Logan.
I just have two things. One, over the weekend, Mother's Day, I participated in the Pink Heels Mother's Day Walk. There was 1,500 registered people, about 1,000 showed up. So if you were in Shanahan Sunday morning, you saw a stream of pink shirts running down the street. I was one of them. I would like to challenge our board members to be active with these charities when they have public events. It seems like every charity event I go to, I see Jennifer, and that's pretty much it. So they're out there. There's a lot of charities that could use our money. So if you get a chance, I suggest that you go visit them. Also, I do see sometimes that we have vehicles that were given away for a donation or surplus. I know Pink Heels, one of their big awareness things is the pink fire truck, the pink police car, the pink ambulance. So maybe the next time one of those pops up, maybe we can think about Pink Heels and see if we can push one towards their way. I don't know how that all works. And the second thing, which kind of falls on Mr. Revis here, the Poet Laureate for City of Joliet is tonight. It's at the museum, Historic Museum. I will be there tonight, so I hope I see some other people there. I don't know if Mr. Revis is going to be able to come and share his poem over there, but I know they're going to be like 6 people reading poems and seeing if we can see who the next Joliet Poet Laureate is. I don't know if Will County has one. I would be all for a Poet Laureate for Will County. I don't know how we would go about even doing that, so thank you.
Thank you. County Board Member Coleman?
I had turned my mic off, but sorry,
all right.
since you called on
I
me,
wrote, I'm trying to be proactive and I'm writing them down here.
that's fine. I want to speak to this tax situation. So growing up, I lived in a house, and one day I looked up how much my pops paid for it, and I saw how much it was worth. I'm like, oh, okay. So I stayed in an apartment for about 10 years or 5 years, and I've been in my house for 10. And every year the property value goes up. And so what I've learned is if the value of your house goes up and it's a percentage of taxes paid on said property. See, I blame all the math teachers for this. And this is why I push them. I'm happy that my house costs more now than it did some years ago. It's allowed me to be able to, get some lines of credit, which was not taught in school. I learned that being a homeowner, and make some improvements around your home. So we can't have an increase in property value and a lowering of taxes just mathematically for most homes that cost over $200-something thousand. And what has grown weary for me, this is just ongoing at all levels of government, are blanketed statements with no facts. And then we want to go to saying, oh, that's misinformation, that's alternative fact. No, it's a lie, and it's not the truth. So however you want to sugarcoat it makes no sense to me. So I would hope, because I've read some of the things that are online. I've also read the comments that residents are making, and some of them are like, what are you talking about? You can't have your property value go up and your taxes go down. It literally is not mathematically possible. So I would just hope when we're talking to constituents, when we're putting things out in public that can be screenshot, that can be shared 10 years from now, that you actually have information to back it up. So we have more information at our fingertips, and sometimes that's a bad thing because people read stuff and they just go with what they believe and they don't look up the opposing views. And then that's how we get in trouble and simply tell lies. So when we're talking to our constituents about taxes and whether you use it or not, this is a society that we all live in. I want educated people. I want clean streets. I wish they could just close down Chicago Street and repave it. It's bumpy the whole way, right? But we can't have these things and these luxuries, which I've been to a lot of countries, good and bad, and no infrastructure, no waste management, little police force, no lights. The whole time I was in Iraq, there's no street lights. There's no paved roads hardly, right? So we have all of those things here because that's the country we live in. That's the country I've served and the country I love. So things cost money and I'm willing to pay. I don't have kids and I live dead in the middle of all kinds of school districts. And I'm happy if the school system is doing what it needs to do to produce critically thinking citizens, not little robots, but kids who are then going to go out, get employed, and be able to afford a home and be able to raise their families here. So things cost money, and we just need to make sure when we're talking to our constituents, we're relaying the truth. Thank you.
Any other last call for county board members before I go on to leadership? Last call, all right. I'm getting it. County Board Member Ballich.
Well, I was going to talk about Mother's Day since mothers are so special to all the Italians. But you know what? I got a message from the big guy, my mother, or big woman up there. She says, you better talk about what's more important. And to be honest with you, I'm like sitting back waiting to have that last little discussion about 143rd Street. When you talked to our lobbyist said that they're stalling any quick take decisions until after the court cases heard. So these people are going out and they're offering our residents in Homer Glen rip-off deals. The one lady that owns a horse farm was offered, and I told them, don't even talk to those people. Slam the door in their face and tell them to get the hell out of here. But they don't. The lady was offered, they'll pay her mortgage off, and then she can go on her happy way. She won't have a mortgage. She got no money out of the deal. Now, we've been telling all of them to give us the offers, and we get them all to the attorneys. So it's out of my hands there, but I'm looking at it like they have to stop going to these houses and bugging these people. That's what they did with the airport on the east end of the county. They're a bunch of bullies. And now I'm going to say another thing. This is something that people don't know, because the question was asked at our meeting to Jeff Ronaldson about a bridge that's going to go over to the Des Plaines River, and he said it's not going to happen. Well, in my travels, I met a person that is actually bidding on the project right now, waiting to see if they're going to get it. It's going to be a bridge that connects 143rd Street to Plainfield, the one in Homer. And then now the Forest Preserve in Cook County doesn't want to give Orland Park the land so they could do their deal. So they're fighting with Orland Park now. Everybody along that stretch is aggravated with it. So the people in Plainfield, I don't think they really know they're going to get a bridge. And that's going to get all the trucks off of 355 too. So it's going to go west and east. So you know what? God bless them all. But I just know one thing. We represent people. And the day that we stop listening to the people, we don't deserve to be in office, because then we're a bunch of stu-nots. That means stupid people. And it really aggravates me. So the people where I live are getting screwed. The people in Orland Park will be getting screwed. The people now in Plainfield, where Mr. Revis's place is from, are going to get screwed. We're going to have people bitching about this stuff over and over and over again. So we got to stop it and start listening to the people. And that's all I got to say. Hey, Ma, I did it.
Sure, she's proud, but Steve, you got to help me out here and just change your vocabulary for us here in the public meeting. I know it's hard. You did. So I need you, and it's, you got to, we have to do better. Thank you. County Chair, or that's fine. Thank you. Yeah. Member Trenier.
Thank you, Madam Executive. Good morning still. Isn't this nice? I want to respond a little bit to Member Revis's statements, not directed at him, but just to the ideas that he expressed. I do see that it is difficult for people to pay their property taxes. And I know in my community, we recently lost a not-for-profit, the Community Services Council of Northern Will County. And that group used to, on a regular reoccurring basis, counsel potential new homeowners on what it means to be a homeowner. And I would just like to say that just because you buy a home doesn't guarantee that you get to keep it for the rest of your life, nor does it mean that you need it for the rest of your life. We have a shortage of housing actually in Will County and in Illinois in the metro area. But you know, a home purchase is a big deal. And you have to plan for a lot of things. You have to plan that, hey, you might lose your job and be laid off. I mean, there's a lot of things that are involved in that. We have record profits from many, many, many corporations in this country right now. I mean, I guess I could say the state is greedy or the county is greedy, but I would say there's a lot of greedy corporations. We provide services and fulfill the needs of the residents that we represent in our various districts. As was stated earlier by Board Member Coleman, there are things that are needed and not everybody gets to take advantage of every service. I do see how it's harder on seniors to have to pay for schools, but I also see that it produces educated residents in the community, educated citizens in our country, which we want that. We really do want and need that. And, education funding is supposed to be primarily from the state. And I was watching a video last night where a former elected official reminded us that we need to give people reasons to vote. And if people are unhappy with their property tax, they need to be educated that a big portion of their property tax is going to the schools. And one of the reasons it's going to the schools is because the state is not funding them, not living up to their funding responsibility. That's a reason to vote. And we have an awful lot of people right here in our own county that do not vote. They don't vote. They're registered, but they don't vote. And we got other people that aren't even registered that could vote. There's things going on that are out of our control. We're wasting money right here on lawsuits. We're going to have to hire lawyers to defend the county board's decision. It's going to cost us money. I haven't heard anybody worried about that. It's going to cost money. Government costs money. And that's just a fact. And to say that we should, hold the line on property taxes is a nice thing to say, but it's not realistic. We have to pay bills just like the residents we represent. They have to pay bills. We don't control the price of eggs or bread or milk. I wish I did. But there are resources out there for people that are cash strapped that can help put more cash in their pockets. There are food pantries. There are townships that can offer emergency or general assistance for people that are in dire straits. And for me personally, I've watched my house that I bought in 2009 go from $233,500, which was the price I paid for it. If I was to sell it today, there are homes in my neighborhood that are going for $417,000 to $424,000. And it's because of the shortage of homes. That's an investment that is paying off, but there's cost to that investment. You don't get something without putting something in. You have to put into the pie to get something out. So when I get into the position where I can't pay my property taxes anymore, and I'm very realistic, this could happen to me. I have a couple of options. I can either sell my home and move into something smaller or less expensive with less property taxes, or I can talk to my children who are going to inherit that home, sell that home, and take the proceeds and say, hey, you want this money when I kick off? You got to put it into the pie now and help me out with my property taxes. If that's what it takes, if they want me to stay in my home, I want to stay in my home, and they want to have my home when I'm dead and buried, there's cost to things. So I'm very, very happy with the services that we get in Illinois, and I continue to look for ways that we can improve residents' lives here in our county, because that's what we were elected to do. So I want to wish everybody a safe and happy Memorial Day. I hope you go to your local community services. I'll be going to mine, and recognizing, loved ones that are gone. So thank you and have a good day.
Thank you. Okay, we are going to end with Chair Ogala.
I just want to say that you did a great job today.
Oh,
'Cause
thank you for
I
that.
know it's difficult up
Yeah,
there
right.
with all the flashing lights.
Thank you.
And we do get along a lot of times. Sometimes we don't, and that's part of being elected, and we understand that. And we do try our best to be cordial to each other, regardless if we don't always agree. And we do. I think we both make an effort there. Not everyone can say that for themselves. I just wanted to say a couple things that I just want to thank all the county board members who take their time to show up to the committee meetings, whether you're on the committee or you're not, because then you know what's happening. So when you get to county board day, you understand what was discussed, how it was voted on, and hopefully you understand how you're going to vote. That's the point of going to attend those meetings and understand that if you're not able to attend the meetings, I think you should reach out to somebody who sits on that meeting, on that committee, and ask them. And if you can't get a hold of them, then ask either myself, one of the leaders, or you can ask the chief of staff because she goes to all the meetings as well. So you understand that things are discussed at meetings. If you miss something, that doesn't mean it wasn't discussed. If you're not attending that meeting because you weren't able to make it that day, and we all miss meetings from time to time, but we do discuss everything that's on the agenda because what happens on the county board agenda here today has all been discussed at a previous meeting. This isn't just popping new things on the agenda and that we've never discussed. So keep that in mind. I think taxes is a very difficult situation. It seems people have a lot of different comments about that. The only thing that I know is that when your property value increases, of course, you could expect to pay more property tax increase, but that doesn't necessarily mean it has to happen. Increases happen when levies increase, and every taxing body should have the responsibility of looking and seeing how they can tighten their belts instead of raising them all the time. So, and I know I live in Will Township, and Will Township has not raised their levy. I think it's 7 years now. So they're amazing that they're able to do that. We're a small township, so I understand that's a bit different too. But I think sometimes we just think that we have to provide this and we have to provide that, and we don't have to provide everything that everybody wants. People need to be responsible for themselves. But again, I just want to say thank you for those who make the extra effort in being involved and making phone calls and talking amongst yourselves when you're trying to figure out how you want to vote on things. I hope all the mothers in the room had a fabulous Mother's Day. I know I had a great day. We celebrated Saturday and Sunday because we have a new baby in the family. So we wanted to keep him separate from the other little munchkins who carry a lot of germs. And then happy Memorial Day. That's something that we can all look forward to celebrating and remembering. All that we have today is because of those who have served. So I just want to say that, and I can't believe that it's going to be June soon. It seems unbelievable to me, but that's that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. There is no need for executive session, so I need a motion to recess until Thursday, June 20th. Motion by Mitchell, seconded by Mueller. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.